Potential threat detected. Potential threat detected.
When I was a small child, I vividly remember spending the night hanging out with my older brother and his friend, watching one of them play through a game that I was admittedly probably way too young to be watching. It saw them trying to survive aboard a spaceship that was ravaged by all kinds of creepy, grotesque creatures. But these monsters weren't what wound up giving me nightmares. Oh no. It was her. It was that voice.
I am SHODAN.
Originally released in August 1999 for Windows machines, System Shock 2 is a game that is often held up by fans and critics alike, heralded as one of the greatest games of all time. And I do not argue with that statement at all. And now we've got a 25th Anniversary Remaster, courtesy of the folks at Night Dive Studios. So it begs the question, does it hold up all these years later? In System Shock 2, you play as one of the few remaining survivors aboard the Von Braun, an experimental faster-than-light ship sent out into the far reaches of space by the Tri-Optimum Corporation. As one would expect, the crap hits the proverbial fan, and now the ship is overrun by the Many, parasitic organism that takes over its host, mutates them, and connects them to a massive central hive mind. To make matters worse, Xerxes, the ship's onboard AI, has been hacked and corrupted by the Many, and is now working against you as well. But if you think that's the only evil AI you've got to contend with, think again. As the antagonist of the original System Shock, SHODAN herself is revealed to also be active aboard the ship as well, in what has to be one of the most harrowing scenes in a video game ever. Seriously, I'd play this game just for that one moment alone. It is pure cinema. Turns out that during the events of System Shock 1, she created what would become the Many. But it was lost when the protagonist of that game, the hacker, jettisoned the pod that it was on from Citadel Station, and now it has evolved beyond her control. So you gotta help her stop it. Also, a little bit of a personal side note, I am very surprised that some tech bro hasn't tried to name his large language model SHODAN yet. Give it time, it'll probably happen. But things are not completely hopeless, as the player has access to some pretty potent means of fighting back. System Shock 2 is a prime example of the immersive sim genre. Mixing elements of old-school computer role-playing games with first-person shooter mechanics, players can build their characters and approach obstacles in pretty much any way they see fit. Want to solve things with as little fighting as possible? Pick up some tech skills and hack open locked doors and modify your gear to fit your needs. Usually play a spellcaster in RPGs, then speccing into psionics would be right up your alley. Or you can go full-on gun-toting madman and blow things away with an increasingly powerful arsenal of weapons. But remember, this isn't Doom, which is probably pretty apparent to anyone who has ever used a gun in this game. The combat is fine for what it is, but it's a bit on the clunky side if I'm being honest. You've also got to manage your resources, as unless you know this game like the back of your hand, you're gonna find yourself short on supplies pretty quickly. Couple that with weapons that degrade as you use them, and things can sometimes get pretty bleak. But however you decide to play, System Shock 2 does give you the tools you need to survive, if you're good enough to dodge lead pipe wielding mutants, exploding robots, and giant alien spiders, that is. So yeah, the game is obviously a lot of fun, but how good of a job did Night Dive do in bringing the game back to players on modern systems? As to be expected, they knocked it out of the park. Running on the Kex engine, their in-house game engine that powers pretty much every remaster they put out these days, the experience here is about as seamless as you'd want from a release like this. I didn't personally notice any bugs or glitches during my time with it, and it managed to hold a consistent frame rate the whole way through. Graphically, the game looks exactly like how I remember it looking, but upon comparing it side by side with its original release, it's like night and day. Higher quality models and textures keep the game feeling like the game that I remember as a kid, but it brings it up to a more modern standard. It actually reminds me of some of the HD mod packs that we used to get back in the day as part of the modding scene. The ones where people went back and put in new, higher polygon models and upscaled textures. There were a few that I know of that were really popular back in the past, and honestly I can't imagine that anyone is playing without them these days. So if you were worried about this remaster really changing things visually, they really didn't do much of that beyond what you're probably already used to. Of course, this also applies to the gameplay as well. We've still got the same clunky menu-based gameplay of the original release, preserved in all its late 90s glory. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave up to you. Oh, and the remaster also overhauled the co-op gameplay, allowing for you and your buds to blast your way through the halls of the Von Braun together, but I sadly didn't get the chance to partake in the shenanigans before doing this review. Maybe now that it's fully out, me and some of my friends that I totally have, I swear, will be able to dive in here shortly. For fans of the series, grabbing System Shock 2 25th Anniversary Remaster should be an absolute no-brainer. And honestly, even if you're somebody who only ever checked out the games that were inspired by it, such as the BioShock series, I'd still totally recommend checking it out. The game is brilliant, and the work that Night Dive did on this remaster is more than worth the reasonably priced price tag on Steam, or your platform of choice once those come out. Once again, Night Dive shows why they are the masters of the remaster. Now, if they could get working on remasters of Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, Prey 2006, or figure out a way to untangle the legal mess that is the rights to No One Lives Forever, I'd be a happy man.
The individual is obsolete. When you and your kind are extinct, we shall blend our collective memory of the stain of your existence.